I want to stop us there because I want to talk about these map reworks. This is huge. I took a look at this. A lot of the consensus from a lot of different people that have been speaking about it is this is money. This is a big W for how they've changed the map. So I want to kind of take a look at each of them different stuff, point out some of the major changes, because it looks like they've taken a lot of the map friction into consideration and have adapted it so that there's fair play. Fair play for attacking, fair play for defense. And I think a main consensus you might see across these maps is that they're removing spawn camping. I think 4 of the 5 maps that have been reworked are ones that you would regularly see spawn capping happening in your ranked game, especially at higher levels, as well as the top level play of OWCS, OWL, historically speaking. So I'm going to move us over into right here. Here we go. The maps. I also have to update my earbud because it's dying. But as I do, let's open up Circuit Royale map and we can take a little bit of the specific look here. So here's the before picture of Circuit Royale. I think I gotta change it a little bit. Here we go. I think that's as big as I can get it for now. But here we go. Okay, here's the first point for Circuit Royale. And this is before. Most times you'd see players basically like defending teams would stack on the balcony up here and they would spawn camp. And it was a really hard time for attacking teams to make anything happen for it. Then we look at the after picture. They added a door to above the balcony so you can contest it. And then they have the stairs on the side here a little bit different. And that's going to make a big difference when we see the next picture here. They also added the cover in the front of the 2 doors to make it a little easier to like walk out of spawn and not just get like annihilated by a widow, etc. Right? Skip into that's 10 because of the file format, but we're going to be looking at right here. This is the before picture. You have the ramp of the stairs going up on the defender side. This caused a lot of problems because there's a lot of cover for a defending tank. That's usually where they held. That was a lot of cover for a DPS to get a nice angle to the race car, to the F1 car that you're pushing to the side. So you couldn't take any sort of wide angle. And then it left the close angle just being inside that door as you go up. And like, then you're basically fighting, you know, from a small hole, a little choke, right? So this is the before aspect of it. Now, after the fact, here we are. They basically got rid of the stairs. They added a door to the second part so defenders can still go up there, but, you know, they have to, you know, interact with that downstairs door. They have the cover, etc. And like the last thing you can see is in the back there, the door. And that adds like a wraparound angle over. Nick, Circuit Royale, was it a map you got to play a couple times, more than a couple times? How do you feel?
I've played it more than a couple times. I mean, like I don't know. Do you know my opinions on spawn camping in this game?
I do not. So this is going to be a great first live impression take. Let's go.
You should be punished in this game for spawn camping. Like they should spawn behind you. Yeah.
Like you mean
you should be hella punished for moving too far into the enemy, like towards the enemy spawn. There is only one spawn point in this game. It's a big friction point for me because a lot of low ELO players, and this is no disrespect, you're all sharks. You don't look up, you don't look down, you look forward and you move forward because you spawn and there's nothing behind you. There's nothing next to you. There's nothing to the right, to the left. I think it's a big, terrible point for this game as a whole. But like this stuff is like, you know, it's cool that they're changing certain things, but does that change, you know, how effective certain people are depending on the map with like what update they're doing and stuff like that? Like, you know, certain champions aren't as good anymore in certain scenarios.
Hey, Billy here. Wanted to take a quick minute to let you know a few different things. If you enjoyed the video so far, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps us out and it tells the algorithm to share it with more people. You can find the Esports Meta live every week on Twitch and YouTube. It's where we film the podcast or hang out, play games, and chat. If social media is more your vibe, check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, or Twitter if you use Threads. Does anybody use Threads? This is a video game community that's excited to talk about esports, so jump into the conversation conversation. Of course, you can find more videos like this here on YouTube. Just hit that subscribe button right there or there. Thanks for watching, and let's get back to the show.
Definitely see a little bit later how that question is answered or not answered, but I think that's right. In the very least, the map is almost like it's literally the container that you're in. So it's, you know, if you're like water, it allows you to be more flexible. It doesn't mean these players will be flexible, but if the map didn't allow them to be more flexible, they wouldn't be. So at least now they have more bandwidth to be flexible. Will they be flexible is yet to be seen, but the players who got it will get it and make it happen. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one pans out on this map rework wise. And like the spawn camping thing, I don't disagree with you, but in that way, I do want to see, you know, I like seeing how they are changing this and adapting these maps who were complained about pretty famously as being defender friendly or spawn camped, etc. So here we have the second part of Circle Royale. The sports car here, the doors up is I want you to focus on, and that wall behind the bistro lights. We're going to see basically a door pop up for that flank angle, so you can attack where most hit scan DPS stand from the defender side. Now they can be, you know, aggressed without walking across this big gaping street. Also, the car is now an SUV, so a lot more cover there, a lot more of a situation. Let's see how the angles pan out. And the final thing is there's a sign where the entrance, where that theater is over there, where the bend of the street is. And that allows you to, has a door to go up, but it gives you a little bit more cover to then stay there and, you know, counter that angle perhaps. So overall, looking pretty good, pretty solid of a rework. But the big change to Circuit Royale is going to be this hill. Everybody complained about this hill. This hill was monstrous trying to get up, and a good DPS, a good team would hold that height advantage. Because like, that's like you said, low elo players, they don't get it. They don't understand angles. They don't understand height. And like the simplest way to put it is if I'm at an angle, if I'm looking down at you, I see more crit box. I see more head. So I can shoot head more. Simple as that. That's all. And then I have the floor. It works like a wall because I can just move back and now I've got cover. So those are the two very vaguely said reasons why the height is good. And that's the advantage that you'd have here on this hill with that break in the barrier and like these two different spots. And the attackers just didn't have anywhere to hide. They could hide around the corner in the building, but they couldn't do anything. Here's the changes we're seeing. Here, they lower the height of the hill. They changed the barrier a little bit. They got rid of the gap between the barriers and the underneath the barriers where like Hanzos and Widows would put some sneaky headshots through. They added another barrier on the left side of the map here, so you can work your way along the wall as an attacker. We're going to see in a second that there's a door here that you can go up to that balcony in the back, wrap around, potentially create an off angle, a deep off angle to give space to your team as a flanker, as a Genji tracer, etc. Maybe even a soldier, you know, put those legs to work. So great to see how this already looks. I think maybe this wall is a little bit taller too. I can't tell for sure. Maybe it's my eyes playing with me because of the joining the hill, but love to see that specifically. And here's another angle of this bend. Here's the before of it. You can see how at the start of the bend, the doors closed off, the height, the gates are a little bit blocked, etc. Now we're going to go to the after, and there's now a door on the far right. So we were saying wrap around. They wrap around from the start of the bend. There's cover on the hill on the attacker side. The cover on the defender side isn't as like oppressive. It blocks line of sight a bit more. So all good changes I'm liking to see here. Nick, again, you know, I know you don't like spawn camping. We're not talking about spawns right now. How was your experience with this hill? What are your thoughts on this specifically? Because this is a pain point a lot of players have.
It's like the saying of like, yeah, man, it's like just all uphill from here. Like it's awful. Like
it's not even just one hill. It's two hills you'd have to go around and get. You'd get that capture point right there where the checkered line is, but then as you get around the bend, you're stuck in the open again too.
It's amazing for lore, but it's terrible for gameplay. It's such a beautiful map. It's such a beautiful map, but like this, it's just It's just horrendous. Like this is just an awful little thing, you know? And, you know, it just becomes harder and harder to play with people that you're not actually like having good synergies with. Not even like the champions, just like people themselves, right? If you're not meshing with them, the way that it was, it just made it a lot harder for you to like try to help, try to assist, try to mesh with them like forcefully, right? So this makes it a little bit easier for those players who are trying to be more of like team players and trying to help their team win when, you know, other people aren't particularly playing that way.
The container gives them more room to flex, so we'll see who steps up and uses that room. I want to run through the major changes for some of the other points. For the rest of Circle Royale, this room on the left side here opens more space for an angle, so you can contest and not just be like choked out here when you're defending or attacking. That's the third point room. The balcony at the end, a third point on the side. They widened the side here. They added the barrier and the tree. They added the fountain, so it doesn't feel like no man's land. Anytime anybody went up here, it was pretty much like, what are we doing here? This is so painful. I can't wrap around. I can't create any sort of friction or like distraction for the team. So this looks like it's a pretty good change. It's going to make it a little bit easier for flankers, etc. Without the threat of Lucio just knocking you off. You've got some room to work, some room for counterplay. The last change here. Okay, yeah. This is the attacker's second point spawn. They added a second door on the left here, not just the right. The window is bigger, and then the archway is taller. So now it's not as much of a choke for defenders' advantage. It is a little bit more give to the attackers, because this last dash was always, again, painful to push through. And this was one of the reasons, and one of the maps I'd say that map dictates teamwork more than the players do at those elos, especially in like gold and plat. The map will force these players to fight at places you're supposed to fight at, and force players to play a specific way you're supposed to play. Supposed to meaning, you know, healthy way for value, for not getting like just clicked. And like this was one of those maps where this third point really forced the defending team to play right. And we're seeing a change where now attackers will have a little bit more tools in their arsenal to overcome that. So another great big change right here. All right. Nick, unless you had anything else to touch on with Circle Royale, I want to show us a couple and like fly through the other ones here for Dorado, for Numbani, because they're also equally interesting. Does that sound good?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Dorado, first point, they're adding the elevator on the left building, the pink building here. This was famously where a lot of dive tanks, you have to play dive on this map because Winston, Diva, etc. can just stay up here, stall up here, create such a drastic high ground advantage where you're spawn camping, and that just snowballs. And you have your Ana in the back on either the the archway or the left side of the archway there, where they're safe and they're not being threatened, and the monkey can just come back, the diva can come just back up and get healed up and then go back for the attack. So now the attackers have this elevator to contest that. The yellow building was an alternate building people could stand on between the pink and the yellow, you know, change your angle, mix it up a little bit. That now has a roof, so you cannot. And then the attackers spawn has a barrier that's moved to the outer wall here at the top rather than inside, because I don't know about you, and I'd famously see Genjis, I'd famously see Sombras up there just like aggressively holding and like locking people down out of that top portion here. So that's the big change here on point one.
I got something to say about that area.
Yeah,
like
what's up, man?
The elevator's stupid. The elevator's garbage. A lot of the fighting happens on the ground. No. Like a lot of the pain point happens on the ground. And then you're going to get on an elevator. It makes you fucking useless. Like, that's actually stupid change. Put a fucking bridge from the spawn point on top right here all the way to the thing. Just put the bridge.
Interesting.
Put a bridge with like, railways or something that gives a crouch down, do something. But like, you're going to do the fight and then you're going to stand stationary? That's what you're fucking telling me? That was your solution? Hey guys, I understand this is a pain point. People get spawn camps. So go ahead, brawl for a second. Hopefully you win the brawl, because then you get to stand on an elevator for 10 seconds. What goofball came up with that? Like, for real.
Well, man. If we take a look at this map, I wonder if I can zoom in a little bit more. Open image and new tab.
Does that change make you not pick Winston still?
I think I think you do pick Winston more, but the biggest part about that is the elevator. There's still a wall here. It's not like flat off the front part, which is where you'd see a lot of tanks hold. They'd hold this this angle at the front, you know, these front two corners, because their healers would give them line of sight there, and they could stay being held and give them ult charge. So they were really holding on that side of this archway. So I wonder then, you know, that wall here really combats the thing that you're saying. Otherwise, aesthetically, I kind of agree. Like, it doesn't make sense that there's an elevator there. I like the idea that you had, like you're saying, like, why not just have an archway go from that building to that building? Maybe not have it covered, and like, you know, that's how you fight. You go out the spawn point from there to contest that. But yes, I do feel like this will help solve it a little bit. How much, I guess, is, you know, you make a fair point. How much will it actually work and implement? Because hold on. I think it will work. The reason why I think it will work is because most of the time that Winston, that diva, they're standing up at the point over here closer to that car, the front of the street here.
Yeah, unless like your team is getting egregiously destroyed and camped, which happens quite a lot, to people.
And at that point, they're in this area around the point, around the truck, or like in the archway. Like, they're not really on top of the building when it's that.
But it's not making them choose, right? Like, so it's not really changing much about the way everybody's interacting with it, because the people who are defending are interacting in the exact same way as they were before. Like, there might be a slight change here or there, but it's the exact same interaction happening. So like, if you did put the bridge, right? And it's like, damn, now I'm the monkey. I can't be on the floor anymore. I got to jump back up. So now I have to use it as like an engage tool instead of a disengage. Right? Because they're on the top of me now. Now I got to jump up there or ride this elevator motionless. Like, keep the elevator. I don't even care. Like, that's how pointless it is. But sorry, I'm laughing. Like, that's a super frustrating pain point for me, because I've done that to people. I've literally been the person who's done this and giggled the whole time, because you should not be able to do it. Like,
yeah, it might be basically a comp change. This might benefit a Reinhardt or an Orisa or even a Malga, just to get up to the top and like contest the monkey at the top. You know, monkey versus monkey. Yeah, you're right. You almost still have to jump to engage on that. Diva, you almost have to use boosters to engage up here, and then you're kind of SOL at the top. But we'll see how that pans out for this map, specifically, how people, you know, play with it. But honestly, this is not the one that's controversial. Let me go over into point two. Well, let me go to the second section.
I'm a pleb anyway. I don't know nothing about this game. Someone's going to hit me in the comments like, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah,
like,
if birthday boy Nick here is an idiot, let us know in the comments. Let us know on their social media.
No, I agree. Don't even let me know. Hit me in the DMs. I already know. Hashtag true. You don't even have to say I'm stupid.
So here's the second part of this point around the fountain. The big change here is the line of sight with these markets. They have an extra path going between it, so it's not as oppressive. And I think this is going to play a big role in after you capture the first point. The spawn doors go into this heart room for the attackers, and a lot of times people would hide behind here, but this gives a little bit more vantage point. So we'll see how that gets pushed by the defenders. Otherwise, there's a little wall on the left side here. You can kind of see on the other side of the fountain, adds a little bit more cover, maybe a little more impedance for people trying to wrap in and out. Maybe, I think that might even be a second door into that room with the mini as well. So small changes on this part. That's going to make a big difference, I feel like.
Yeah, you were kind of out in the open right there. Like, as DPS, you kind of had to stay like right on the street, so, like, for some of them, right? So that's a nice change. I like that change.
Right. And here we are with the big change on Dorado. It's point two, zone 2, the courthouse, basically. This was another one where it's a heavy top down aspect. You need high mobility, high mobility characters or dive characters to be able to get up on this ledge, defend it. Players who knew how to use it, who can hit shots, did so and held you here. And it was such a shooting fish in the barrel moment for a lot of players. So this is how they changed it. They lowered the ramp a little bit, the height of it, and then they added the stairwell on the first here. So they widened that, so you're not just going to get booped off. They added more cover technically here to the underpass of the courthouse. And then you still have everything else kind of the same here. This one I feel like is a super duper change. They're going to make it way more friendly for a Reinhardt. Absolutely, between these two things that we were talking about, the elevator and the stairs here. You don't have to wrap all the way around to the coast, come back through the courthouse, and then contest. Like, they're going to read that from a mile away. Now you can move up fairly quickly with a direct pathing, or you can go inside and under the same sort of way. Love to see it. Definitely a great change there. Just to kind of wrap up Dorado real quick, the big thing we're seeing is the actual point on point 2 is they added more cover. They added this sign here on the run side. They've got tiered steps, so there's more cover for a defender kind of walking back. There's more cover for the attacker defender, and the steps on the far side here where they have like a block up to the roof there. You have more like kind of nook to hide behind. I think they've kind of changed the height, or maybe it just looks that way, of the box on the ground, because there was some tech with like Brig and some other characters. I think Tracer, you're able to get up there. So they might have shipped that around. The one thing you can't see is that they closed the window. So sightlines have closed a little bit from the courthouse out to this area as well. But that's like the last big change for here. You know, point 4, they added this wall here. They added the brick on the path. This point was fairly already kind of there, but we're basically seeing them encourage. We'll see what else changes when we actually get into it, but they're encouraging more of a wraparound onto high ground, able to contest it and not just get choked out down on the main. All right, let's move into the next map, which is Havana. This is another one where it's like snipers only, and those who can click heads win. First point, straight up. The big change is going to be this window. They close it off. So they closed off a sniper point. You only have the one on the right and the one on the left, which gives you distinctly different angles. That is also going to be paired with the actual spawn. There's a door that comes out the top, just like it does in Junkertown. We'd see a lot of teams spawn camp Havana, especially on top of the gas station here, and make those pushes a move. There's another box there, but now teams can come out on top. They can contest up here directly. Maybe an attacker, even a Sombra, but we'll see how that works with the rework. They can just hide up here and kind of give a little bit of a backline presence while they mess with the team. But
I doubt this changes much.
I think it really changes the whole idea of a total spawn camp, because I think competent teams will be able to counter spawn camps and
sure, it might take away. It definitely will probably take away some of like the spawn camping. But like you're still like this whole first bend area is pretty egregious. I really don't. I'm not the biggest fan of this map in certain spots.
Not many
I'm
people
sure, and I'm sure it's understandable why. Like I've never hated a spawn in any of the maps more than Havana.
Yeah,
to be honest,
and I think I should clarify too. It definitely will reduce spawn holding, like a whole team, because if you hold them for more than 30 seconds, you've gotten value. You're taking away at least 1 or 2 team fights by holding up close, where they have to use ults, use abilities to get through you. So if you do that for more than 30 seconds, worth it, because by the time they get to the next point where you should fight, which is going to be the next corner, you're still good. You have a lot of time. Right, you're just taking more fights. So if you could do that for more than the 30 seconds, that's why spawn holding made sense. And I think this gives it a lot more risk. The thing that, where is it? I'm not sure if they shown it. All right, so I don't think they show it here, but the attackers spawn right behind this window. So we're looking at the spawn right behind. They added a couple of trees and a banner that goes across the top to also impede sightlines down into this area. So like snipers from the original like sniper nest on the long road, they're not going to be able to make as clean of a fight up of a pick. They'll have to finagle a little bit more, take a little bit more creative angles, and these teams will have a little bit more cover to work around on this. So they don't have a picture right now to show you, but that is the other big change for this part. Literally where you're looking down this road, that's where. The other thing is that the height on the far balcony has also been lowered. So it's a little bit more accessible by other characters, not just, the high mobility ones. Moving into point 2, this was always another area that was always tough. But, we saw we'll see in the video, I guess they added an extra spawn room for the third point. And they made tier levels here of different like cover points with stairs and platforms so that defenders or attackers can, you know, finagle and you have some variety. They're not just going to have to run it down mid or run it from afar and just hope to get a pick with a poke comp. So that's good to see. Love to see it. Here's the spawn room change we were just talking about. They have a third door. Oh, sorry. 3 doors total. They open this up so you can go back into the warehouse. And then the last one, which is super duper important here, I want to talk about is the castle. The castle choke was huge. It sucked for a lot of people. They're adding a lot of Talon lore paraphernalia on the walls here, but more or less they added stairs so you can wrap around. Here's the before. They had the stairs and you had to go in and then you could climb into a hole in the under part here, but nobody ever did it. Not a lot of people could do it. And it made no sense to wrap all the way around coast past the mega inside that deep flank. That sucked. So they opened it up, made it a little bit easier for teams just to swoop into the low ground, swoop back to the beginning of the gate, the other side of the bridge. So they're not running down the middle of the road. They can use cover to get to that point, or they can go deep flank, or if you have mobility, you go into the hole in the wall on the coast side here. Just, you know, up, provide some cover, maybe create some space. Looking at these changes, I love them. I want to play with them, see how they actually pan out. But this was one of those chokeholds where it's like it really dictated team play and it created an advantage where defenders had an easy time per se, because the map let them, you know, gave them that advantage, gave them the easy time. Here, it'll be cool to see how people are creative on attacking, maybe even defending. They're going to have to throw another DPS to that first door here just to watch that flank and then collapse back so you at least can scout. But huge change, and I think it's going to make a big difference in games here. Nick, I'm about to move into Nubani, but any thoughts with Havana as we kind of move on?
No, they know. You know what needs to happen, right? Especially in that area. For like, if your tank ever fell down there, like the rage that happened for you, like you just screaming. It was like you stubbed your toe times 10. It was awful just to fall down that hole. So.
And like, what else is the tank supposed to do? Like, the tank will only ever want to run down main, push the cart down across this bridge, walk basically in the middle of the road. You're going to get hit by a car. And that's what would happen all the time. So they'd get mad. I'm not getting enough healing. And then they go Roadhog and then your game was over. So at least now with this change, instead of just having to walk across the bridge, they can go to the other side here, come along coast, maybe wrap underneath and try to open it up, maybe swing back, you know, a lot of interesting, cool things. And we'll see the creativity happen here. So definitely. Next move up, we're going to check out Nubani. Nubani's huge because they're basically shrinking the map in a lot of different ways. Here's the spawn point after. You can't really tell from here, but they've moved the spawn doors closer up and they've got rid of a lot of the junk that was back here. Great for lore, but nobody ever fought here. So here's the before. You have a bridge and the spawn point, still another like 30, 40 years behind that.
This was a hike. This whole map is a hike. Like, just to get to that first fight, man.
Seconds, yeah.
We're going to fight inside of a door? Come on. Like, this was like fighting inside of the door, or what? Come on, guys, we got to push up the road. Go up the 90 degree. Like, it's pretty brutal.
And like some of the worst case scenarios, you'd only see defenders push to this bus. Like, this was like generally as far as they would go. Sometimes you'd have the memers try to, you know, let's touch spawn door and stuff. But like generally speaking, like you would only ever see teams fight here. Now with the spawn door changes, they moved everything up. They got rid of the bridge right there. The bus is still there, but shifted a little bit. They added a new door on the top here so you can contest the high ground that most players stand on when they start this map. So all good changes with that. Love to see that. Here's actually that spawn door from the spawn that you can just easy walk up. Nothing really to talk about here. But the first point is going to have the biggest change, I think, on this map. And here's the, let me see. Here's the before picture. Here's the point. You've got stairs on the inside and then it wraps to the outside to go to the balcony. And then it wraps all the way behind to get to the other balcony. Here's the after. They've removed those stairs and they added like a jump puzzle with the grass platforms there, but they've officially moved it so that it's on the outside. Here's a picture. Generally speaking, the stairs are now on the outside of coast, coming around to first point where that mega would be. It leads there. So now you have flankers that can have a route they can contest. They don't need to be too vulnerable by going into the point and then up the stairs. They could, they don't have to be full mobility. You can have a Reinhardt comp, just Lucio you into the back here. They can wrap all the way around the back, go up to the high ground, across the point, contest there. So this is the big change, and I think we're going to see a lot more fights happen over here. A lot more transitions and movements happen on the backside here. All right. Here's the different angle just for all of our viewers. I'll try to. They're at, nothing really different here on the first point. The points in the same spot. The cars are in the same spot. The heights have been changed a little bit. You can see that the close high ground is maybe a couple meters lower than it used to be. Yeah, it's more even on the previous one. They've lowered it just a little bit, but they also added another spawn door on the high ground for second point. When you cap this first point, they added a spawn door on the high ground where you see a lot of defenders place initially, because it is sometimes oppressive to get spawn camped here. All right. Lastly, for Numbani, we've got this famous curve. Nick, this is the before image. How many times have you been held here? Because I know I've been quite a few, and I've done quite a few holding here as well. Yeah, this
most of the time. Remember, I play support, bro. I'll just leave your junky ass if you just like.
Has your team ever stalled here? They can't get around this corner. Have you ever been able to hold another team at this corner?
Yeah, no, this is where I feel like supports become heroes and do all the damage. No, this is a really, really brutal one. Just like the angles alone, just walking around a corner, walking straight. It's pretty brutal right here. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't really like the green. I think the green, anyway.
The Jeep thing here?
No. Because that one's blue-ish teal. No, the green bus. There's little things that little tiny things that I would change. I didn't even see this change, but I would want this big thing in the middle removed.
Well, hold on, because this is the before picture.
I know it's the before picture. That's what I'm saying. Okay. I don't know the after picture. I'm saying I don't know the after picture. Here's what I would like to see. I don't like the green bus. And then the poster that's right next to the green bus. The color is kind of annoying. I want the statue on it is super annoying. There's probably.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look and see, what happened. I think they got a little bit of wish fulfillment there. They moved the bus to the second corner alongside the building. I think they agreed with you. It was too much of a big block for them to move around so they added these columns here. It's a little more rounded, so it opens up the angle of that second curve. It opens up more of an angle in front of that. I think that specifically makes that statue column a little bit less oppressive or dynamic, just right there. So I think it's not, the poster column isn't bad now. I don't think it really was too bad before, but I can see with the bus, it kind of does create that narrow, weird sort of spot. This opens it up, and that's predominantly what the biggest change here, because you can, angle contest it, you can fight it differently, you can approach it differently. People aren't as covered, etc. I do want to see if you could jump up the grass to the second grass and get up on that platform, because that was a way attackers, they could hop on the bus. Certain characters can hop on the bus and then hop onto that platform there behind the statue. So it will be nice to see if that makes any big changes, but that's probably the biggest thing with Numbani. The last specific point, I think I've said that already, but it's really the end of second point, the beginning of third point. They're adding another door stairs. So it looks like you can go up to the high ground here on the outside a little easier. And B, you're able to wrap inside to where the mega is on the other side of the tunnel. So that's the big change on that part. I believe that's all they're showing here. We'll see if there's any more specific changes for the maps in general. But huge changes. Mostly, I think, are pretty solid, pretty good as a takeaway. Like that they're open to these changes. This was a season that they didn't have a character, a champion, a hero coming out. So and a new map not coming out. So doing this season as a season of let's listen to the community and let's change these pain points that they've had, I think is pretty solid. Nick, overall, your interpretation of that so far, is it good? Is it bad? Is it TBD? We'll see how we play on it as I prep us into the next part of this.
I think a couple of those things are, they're pretty solid changes overall, but I would be worried about the value of people's movement, like going up when you make the maps easier to traverse and stuff like that. It adds more value to Juno and to, Lucio and stuff like that. Or, right. Maybe Genji gets a little bit better in certain cases, right? Where has a little bit more freedom with certain movement on the map, or, certain defenses and stuff like that. So, we'll see how it's going to open everything up. Right.
Right. And it's also good to say, like, an Ashe can then maybe get up to the spots without using her coach gun. Whereas previously, like you said, you need to engage with leap, and now you can save it for disengaging kind of stuff. Ashe might be able to now walk upstairs rather than using coach gun to get the high ground, so she can disengage or counter with coach gun. So it'll be cool to see, like you said, how it pans out, and like it does create a variety of opportunities for a lot of different heroes, some that we don't even expect.